Your heart is trying to tell you something, and it's not what you think. That flutter, that thud, that strange skip that makes you freeze mid-sentence, press your hand to your chest and think, is something wrong with my heart? That terrifying moment when your heartbeat feels off, when it pounds too hard, skips a beat, or flutters like a trapped bird inside your ribs, is one of the most alarming sensations a human being can experience. And yet, for the vast majority of people, it has absolutely nothing to do with a damaged heart. Here is the truth that your doctor may never have told you. In most cases, heart palpitations are not a structural problem. They are an electrical problem. And the cause of that electrical problem? A tiny mineral deficiency that is shockingly common, almost universally overlooked, and, here is the most exciting part, completely correctable. Welcome to the conversation that could genuinely change how your heart feels, starting today. But first, an important note. If you are experiencing chest pain, fainting, shortness of breath, or you have been diagnosed with known heart disease, please stop and get yourself evaluated by a medical professional immediately. This is not a substitute for emergency care. However, if you are among the millions who have gone to the doctor, gotten an EKG, gotten an echocardiogram, and been told everything looks perfectly normal, then what follows is exactly for you. So what is actually happening inside your chest? Your heart is not just a mechanical pump. It is a masterpiece of biological engineering, a self-powered electrical organ that fires precise signals over 100,000 times every single day without you ever thinking about it. Every beat is the result of an extraordinarily coordinated electrical event. A signal fires, it travels, your heart squeezes, blood moves through your entire body. Life continues. Now here is what most people do not realize. That electrical system does not run on electricity alone. It runs on minerals. Specifically, it runs on charged particles called electrolytes. Minerals dissolved in fluid that carry an electrical charge through your nerves and muscle cells. Without the right electrolytes in the right balance, the electrical signals that govern your heartbeat become unstable, erratic, jumpy, and that is when you feel what doctors call a palpitation, a skip, an extra beat, a sudden thud, or a rapid flutter that comes from absolutely nowhere. And unfortunately, most doctors never even look at electrolytes as part of the problem. They run an EKG, it comes back normal. They run an echo, also normal. And then they say, well, it's probably just stress, give it time. Maybe we'll do some more testing. But the answer was right there the whole time, hidden in your chemistry. Now, out of all the electrolytes involved in your heart's electrical system, there is one that stands above the rest, one that most people are deficient in, one that the standard blood test almost never catches, and one that, when corrected, can make palpitations simply disappear. That mineral is magnesium. Magnesium is involved in over 300 enzymatic reactions in the human body. It helps produce energy. It regulates blood sugar. It supports muscle and nerve function. It helps synthesize DNA. And most critically, it controls calcium. Here is why that matters. Calcium is the mineral that causes muscles to contract, including the heart muscle. It is the trigger. When calcium floods into a heart cell, the cell fires. When it exits, the cell relaxes. This cycle, repeated billions of times throughout your life, is what keeps you alive. But calcium without regulation becomes dangerous. Too much calcium activity makes the nervous system hyperexcitable, twitchy, irritable, prone to misfiring. That overstimulation is exactly what drives palpitations. And magnesium is the gatekeeper that keeps calcium in check. Think of it this way. Calcium is the accelerator. Magnesium is the brake. When your magnesium levels drop, you lose your brake, and the system races ahead, firing erratically and unpredictably. Now here is something remarkable and deeply frustrating. If your doctor tested your magnesium through a standard blood test and it came back normal, that result may have told you almost nothing useful. Because approximately 99% of the magnesium in your body is not in your blood. It is stored inside your cells, in your bones, in your soft tissues. Your body will actually leach magnesium out of your own tissues to keep the blood level stable, which means by the time a blood test shows a deficiency, you are already severely depleted. The test is essentially useless as an early warning system. So if you have been told your magnesium is normal, and yet you still experience palpitations, muscle cramps, anxiety, insomnia, or chronic fatigue, do not dismiss magnesium deficiency. The evidence is in your symptoms, not your blood work. And speaking of symptoms, magnesium deficiency does not arrive with one loud announcement. It whispers through a constellation of seemingly unrelated complaints that most people never connect to a single root cause. Do any of these sound familiar? Heart palpitations, the flutter or skip or thud that brought you here today. Muscle twitches, especially around the eye or in the calf. Leg cramps in the early morning hours when magnesium levels are at their daily low. Insomnia, lying awake, mind racing, unable to stay in deep sleep. Anxiety and a nervous system that simply cannot calm down. Persistent fatigue that sleep does not fix. Headaches or migraines that come out of nowhere. If you checked off 3 or more of those, you are almost certainly looking at a magnesium insufficiency. And here is the most important thing I want you to hear. This is one of the most fixable problems in human health. But even if you start supplementing today, there are powerful forces working against you. Circumstances and habits that either burn through your magnesium reserves faster than you can replenish them, or flush magnesium out of your body before it can do its job. I call these the 7 thieves. And understanding them is the key to understanding why your palpitations strike when they do, and how to make them stop. Thief number 1, stress. This is the big one. When you experience stress, whether from work, relationships, financial pressure, or physical illness, your body releases 2 powerful hormones, adrenaline and cortisol. Here is what nobody tells you. Magnesium is the natural buffer against both of these hormones. It literally absorbs the biochemical shock of stress. But this means every time you experience stress, you are burning through your magnesium at an accelerated rate. And this creates a catastrophic feedback loop. Stress depletes magnesium. Low magnesium makes you more sensitive to stress. More stress depletes more magnesium, and around it goes, with palpitations as one of the most frightening symptoms along the way. This is why a brutal week at work can suddenly seem to cause heart palpitations. It is not coincidence, it is chemistry. Thief number 2, poor sleep. Bad sleep is both a symptom and a cause of magnesium deficiency, a cruel circular trap. Magnesium activates the parasympathetic nervous system, the rest and recovery system. It boosts GABA, the brain's primary calming neurotransmitter. Without adequate magnesium, your brain cannot properly enter the deep restorative stages of sleep. And meanwhile, poor sleep itself increases the body's demand for magnesium, as it struggles to repair and recover without proper rest. People trapped in chronic poor sleep are often severely depleted, and their palpitations frequently strike in the night or early morning. Thief number 3, blood sugar instability. If you are diabetic, pre-diabetic, or simply someone whose blood sugar spikes and crashes throughout the day, your magnesium needs are dramatically higher than average. Insulin surges caused by blood sugar swings cause the kidneys to excrete magnesium at an accelerated rate. This is why diabetics have such persistent problems with palpitations, cramps, and nerve issues. And the same dynamic affects anyone who eats a diet high in refined carbohydrates and sugar. Every insulin spike is quietly flushing magnesium out of your body. Thief number 4, exercise. This one surprises people. Surely exercise is healthy, and it absolutely is. But it is also an enormous consumer of magnesium. Here is why. Every time your muscles contract during exercise, they use ATP, adenosine triphosphate, the molecule of cellular energy. And magnesium is an essential cofactor in the biochemical process that produces ATP. Intense exercise also causes magnesium to be lost through sweat. The combination of massive energy demand and sweat losses can create an acute magnesium deficit, even in an otherwise healthy person. This is why some people notice their palpitations do not happen during exercise itself, but an hour or two afterward. The reserves have been depleted, the nervous system becomes irritable, and the heart starts skipping. Thief number 5, caffeine and alcohol. Caffeine is a mild diuretic. It causes the kidneys to produce more urine, and more magnesium goes with it. Multiple cups of coffee or tea every day means consistently losing more magnesium than the average person. Alcohol is even more aggressive. It directly inhibits magnesium reabsorption in the kidneys, causing significant losses with every drink. This is one reason why heavy drinking is associated with heart arrhythmias. And if you are taking prescription diuretics for blood pressure or fluid retention, those medications are specifically designed to increase urine output. Magnesium goes along for the ride. If you are on a diuretic and experiencing palpitations, this is a conversation you need to have with your doctor. Thief number 6, low-carb diets and fasting. Have you ever started a ketogenic or low-carbohydrate diet and noticed your heart suddenly palpitating? This is so common it has a name in the keto community, the keto flu. And a major component of it is electrolyte loss. When you reduce carbohydrate intake, your body releases stored glycogen from muscles and the liver. Each gram of glycogen is stored with water, and electrolytes go with the water. In the first 1 to 2 weeks of a low-carb diet, you can lose enormous quantities of magnesium, potassium, and sodium. If you were already borderline deficient before starting, which most people are, this pushes you over the edge. Supplementing electrolytes aggressively in the early stages of a low-carb diet is not optional. It is essential. Thief number 7, the modern diet. Here is the sobering baseline reality. Even before any of the above factors come into play, most people in the modern world are simply not consuming enough magnesium from food and water. Historically, humans got magnesium from 2 primary sources: mineral-rich spring and well water, and whole plant foods. Both of those sources have been compromised. Modern tap water removes most minerals, and the food supply has shifted massively toward processed, refined, packaged foods that have been stripped of virtually all nutritional value. Ultra-processed food does not simply fail to provide nutrients. It actively requires nutrients to digest. Your body must use its own reserves, including magnesium, to process food that delivers nothing in return. It is metabolically bankrupt food that pays for itself with your cellular savings. Now, there is one more thing you need to know about magnesium, and it explains some very specific patterns that many people notice. Magnesium follows a circadian rhythm, a 24-hour biological cycle, and it is at its absolute lowest in the early morning hours, roughly between 2 and 6 in the morning. If you have ever noticed that your most severe leg cramps tend to strike at 3 in the morning, that is not random. If your palpitations seem to favor the early hours, that is not random either. And if you have ever wondered why the majority of heart attacks occur in the early morning, the answer lies, at least in part, in this predictable magnesium trough. The nervous system is at its most vulnerable, its most irritable, its most susceptible to misfiring in the early morning hours. And this means that taking some of your magnesium in the evening, before that window, can make a meaningful difference. So what do you actually do? Step 1, get magnesium from food. The best sources are dark leafy greens, spinach, kale, Swiss chard, avocados, nuts and seeds, especially pumpkin seeds and almonds, dark chocolate at 85% cacao or higher, legumes, whole grains. However, and this is critical, even a perfect diet full of these foods will struggle to correct a deficiency when you have multiple thieves at work. This is where supplementation becomes genuinely necessary. Step 2, choose the right form. Not all magnesium supplements are equal. Magnesium oxide, the most common form in pharmacies, is only about 3% absorbed by the body. The rest passes through the gut. You could be spending money on a supplement that is almost entirely wasted. The form with the highest bioavailability is magnesium glycinate. It is bonded to the amino acid glycine, which dramatically enhances absorption. Up to 80% of the dose actually makes it into your bloodstream. And glycine itself is calming. It boosts GABA activity in the brain, the same calming pathway targeted by anti-anxiety medications. It supports deep sleep. It reduces cortisol. It is gentle on the digestive system. Magnesium glycinate is, in almost every way, the superior choice. Step 3, get the dosage right. The official recommended daily allowance is roughly 400 milligrams per day. For correcting a deficiency and actually resolving symptoms, you may need to work up to 600 to 800 milligrams daily in divided doses. The divided doses part matters. Your body can only absorb so much at once. Split your daily amount, some in the morning, some in the evening. And that evening dose taken about an hour before bed gives you the added benefit of better sleep, which itself reduces your overnight magnesium demand. A positive cycle instead of a vicious one. Here is the bigger picture I want you to hold on to. The chain of cause and effect is clear. Modern life depletes magnesium through stress, poor sleep, blood sugar swings, exercise, alcohol, caffeine, and processed food. Depleted magnesium destabilizes the electrical system of the heart. Destabilized electrical signals produce palpitations, muscle cramps, anxiety, insomnia, and fatigue. And restored magnesium levels reverse all of it. The heart beats approximately 100,000 times every day. Each beat is an electrical event. Each electrical event depends on the right minerals being present in the right concentrations. And magnesium sits at the center of all of it, quietly regulating calcium, buffering stress hormones, supporting energy production, and maintaining the stability of the nervous system that keeps your heart's rhythm true. Start with your diet. Add magnesium glycinate. Manage the thieves. Give it 3 to 4 weeks of consistency and pay close attention to what begins to change, not just in your chest, but in your sleep, your energy, your anxiety, and your overall sense of what it feels like to be in your own body. Your heart has been asking for help. Now you know exactly what to give it.